During this week's Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed Twitch livestream, the voice of Samhain, Ryan Colt Levy, joined community coordinator Albert Hong and writer James Willems discussing his love for the franchise and the challenge of resurrecting the ghost of Halloween. Now, while details on Samhain's inclusion they were kept secret, Albert did confirm the upcoming DLC. It's going to add further narrative to the pre-existing campaign.
Yeah, so we will be keeping more of the story stuff close to the chest. What we can say for you guys is that we'll be expanding upon the story in the Ecto Edition and in the new DLC. So we have the official reveal. Ryan here is our beautiful voice for Samhain. I'm just going to go with the Samhain. I know there's like a million pronunciations. Chat can correct me on that.
Samhain, Samhain, yeah.
Yeah, Samhain, Samhain, Sowen. There's like a million.
We just say Sam, right?
Yeah, we just Sam. Yeah, sure. But yeah, we're still sitting on the story. We are expanding the story, and he will be a part of the story.
Speaking with Levy, he'd share his love of Ghostbusters, saying that the franchise held a special place for him, especially given that he spent his formative years growing up in Manhattan.
So I mean, for me, that's the thing about Ghostbusters. There were a few franchises when I was a kid that I felt like represented not just me as a nerd spiritually, but also New York, being a New Yorker.
Yeah.
And the firehouse and the idea of them rolling around the streets of New York was such a cool idea to me that, like, in a weird way, I mean, I was that kid who always liked to believe that the movies were also kind of secretly real. And
I feel that, yeah.
In my mind, they were always riding around New York somewhere. Like, if something went down, I knew the Ghostbusters were around.
Shifting to his role as Samhain, Levy questioned his portrayal at first, unsure if he was to play it as an homage or instead something entirely new.
The Samhain stuff, like, he was, I mean, like, when you're a kid especially, like, dope pumpkin head, creepy cape, that energy is the coolest.
Yep.
So he was always the coolest. And when I went back and rewatched it after I got the part, I wasn't sure if the idea was like be close to the original recording and character and try and play it like that, or if we were going to go really different. So I actually studied the original performance a little bit and kind of was like, you know, just preparing for maybe catering to that more.
Yeah.
And you know, because I wanted to be respectful, obviously, of it, and if that was going to be expected, I didn't want to just, like, day of be like, oh, yeah, no, let's just, like, put that on, you know. Because I love this franchise, and anytime I'm a part of anything, I want it to be the best that I can give to the project and have the most fun doing, so I like to prepare if I can.
Right, of
but then we
course.
kind of reestablished it, which is really fun. I don't know how much we could talk about the voice itself, but
Going on to call the performance the most outrageous he's ever done, Levy did provide a rough idea of what players can expect, admitting that the recording session ended with a microphone doused in saliva.
Imagine, like, filling your mouth up with as much saliva and liquid as possible without, like, it sounding like you're gargling something, and then putting on, you know, the voice and doing all the affect and stuff, but speaking through spittle and letting it, for lack of a better term, letting it all fly. So, like, really just kind of being as free for, and I was in a studio, so I wasn't doing this at home, which means that poor
You were using, someone else's equipment.
Yeah, and I kept looking through the glass in between takes, being like, are you sure? Like, is this okay? You know, half waiting for them to be like, you know what, he's fired. This is not, like, this is inappropriate. Because it was like, this is just, they're going to burn this, right? Like, after the session, they're just going to take this out back and set it on fire, surely. Because you can't, like, it was, I would do a take, and then I would look, and it would just, like, there'd be something dripping off the pop filter. Or we'd stop a take, and I would have to, like, you know, wipe my face, and it was so much fun.
Keep a towel nearby, like it's almost like a workout.
Oh, yeah.
Spirits Unleashed writer James Willems would further elaborate, with the only production note being that Levy's performance should sound wetter.
In our mind, his head is a pumpkin, and he's spitting seeds. Like, it should be things that, like, you think of a jack-o'-lantern and a scary jack-o'-lantern that has, like, the stuff and the
pulpy,
goop. And even maybe it's been out too. Maybe it's like you made it 2 weeks for
long,
Halloween,
and
it's like kind of rotting a little bit. Like, it doesn't make sense to be articulate. So we wanted wetter, and I heard you mention it earlier. Wetter is what we got all over the pop filter of the microphone.
I was wondering actually if you guys could see through the glass. Like, could you see it dripping off the pop filter?
No,
like,
luckily we were far enough away to not have to see that.
Like,
now, while an ETA on the upcoming DLC, it is currently unknown. Those looking to celebrate the season can do so a bit early, as the game's overworld hub recently received a spectacular makeover, complete with jack-o'-lanterns, cardboard skeletons, cobwebs, streamers, and more. Now, with all that said, that's all I've got for you for this one. As always, subscribe. If you'd like to join up with Ghostbusters news, check out our Patreon page. A link to that is down below in this video's description, and we'll see you right back here next time.
Chills up your spine, your senses don't deceive you. Call up the guys who are ready to believe you. The number's 555-2368. But before you call, let's get something straight. What do you do when the ghosts have been busted? Is it the source universally trusted? If you got a case of Ghostbusters blues, the cure for sure is Ghostbusters news. Jason's the guy who's doing the heavy lifting.